Let me start off today with a simple statistic. It comes to us from a paper that recently caught my attention. It's from Mark Mills, a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute, and he writes, trillions of dollars of spending and subsidies on a transition have not significantly changed the energy landscape. Civilization still depends on hydrocarbons for 84% of all energy, a mere 2 percentage points lower than 20 years ago. We've only moved the needle 2 notches in the past 2 decades. Over this same period, the overall use of fossil fuels around the world has increased by roughly 41%, and coal increased by 55%. To me, these are shocking numbers that raise some hard questions about this energy transition. We should all be asking, at what cost? And more importantly, at what opportunity cost? The question is not, why do we continue to use fossil fuels? The question is, where did all of this prosperity come from? Here are a few more questions. Is the narrative behind renewables simply too good to be true? Is this transition happening way too fast? What are the unintended consequences we are creating? Are we prepared to live with the trade-offs of a net zero world? CONSOL Energy would like to know the answers to these questions, and we're here to say, not so fast. Today, I'd like to introduce you to a new effort by CONSOL Energy to tell the world why coal still matters, and will matter for many decades to come. It is in the spirit of open and honest debate that we've created Not So Fast, an awareness campaign that seeks to inform U.S. policymakers, corporate leadership, and the general public about the consequences of aimlessly moving away from fossil fuels like coal. Many of these unintended consequences are alarming, and it's time to speak up. It seems to me, now more than ever, we live in 2 different worlds. One world is driven by wishes, the other by results. One is based on a narrative, the other on analysis. The current popular narrative goes like this: coal brings no benefit to society, renewable energy technologies are carbon-free, there's no risk with renewables. There's no reason we should be using fossil fuels today or in the future. Once again, not so fast. This narrative might be in style at the moment, but it's not reality. It's certainly not the world we live in. If we sharpen our shovels and dig a little deeper, with just a little analysis, here's what we discover. Worldwide electricity generation from coal hit record highs in 2023. The thermal coal exports surpassing 1 billion metric tons for the first time ever. In the midst of a climate emergency, this is a stunning contradiction. Every year, according to the Minerals Education Coalition, the average U.S. citizen indirectly uses approximately 3,000 tons of coal, or 235,000 tons over one's lifetime. Achieving net zero emissions by 2050 will require far more than most people understand. The new reality of net zero means restrictions to many of our freedoms and limitations to how we use energy. Ride sharing in urban areas, airline travel restrictions, lower speed limits, and mandated thermostat levels are just a few of the lifestyle trade-offs that are being talked about. I don't know about you, but I don't need anyone telling me where I have to set my thermostat. Some estimates calculate that renewable power requires at least 10 times more land area than fossil fuels per unit of power produced. Again, this is another astonishing number to many of us, especially to those whose goal is low impact or no impact to the environment. they are achieving the very opposite of what they claim to be seeking. Those are just a few of the numbers we're highlighting across the campaign. To make our case, it isn't enough to simply deliver a message about the advantages of coal and the benefits of affordable energy. We need to directly confront and correct the myth that fossil fuels are a net negative to our society. They are clearly a net positive. The benefits of coal and its carbon properties far outweigh any negatives. It's not even close. As you've seen, we're doing this with data and evidence, mostly from primary sources. We're also doing it with videos. To quote the economist Thomas Sowell, "There are no solutions. There are only trade-offs." Everyone needs to know about the trade-offs that comes with renewables. The first such trade-off I'd like to address, and perhaps the most concerning, is our national security. The reliability of our power grid is critical to our most basic needs of survival. Our homes, schools, businesses, hospitals, factories, airports, and governments all stop functioning without the steady flow of electricity. Wind and solar power are simply too intermittent and too unreliable. Coal can provide months of dependable on-site power and quickly adjust to fluctuating demand. Without dispatchable baseload energy supply, such as coal, millions of people are in danger in times of high energy demand. In the ongoing rush to renewables, we are now also seeing the U.S. become dangerously dependent on foreign states for rare minerals and components to build and maintain the huge infrastructure required to realize net zero. According to the IEA, to accommodate wind and solar power increases, the mining of certain critical minerals will have to increase between 400 and 4,000% in the next 2 decades. Again, these are extraordinary numbers that raise serious environmental considerations. To reach goals for the renewable energy use, the IEA is estimating the supply of nickel, graphite, and lithium will need to increase by 1,900, 2,500, and 4,200% respectively. This will require an enormous increase in mining and industrial activity, as well as huge amounts of carbon emissions to extract, process, and transport these minerals. Many of the countries fueling our renewable-driven need for critical minerals are not fully aligned with the U.S. when it comes to workplace safety and environmental standards, let alone our national security interest. Another serious campaign message that we want to send is around global poverty. Affordable and abundant energy sources like coal remain essential for meeting the basic needs of billions of people around the world. Denying these populations affordable energy comes with severe ethical consequences. We believe these developing societies have a moral right to realize the immense benefits of fossil fuels, and especially coal. Almost everyone thinks of coal as a power source, but it's really a building block for modern life. From essential materials, including steel and cement, to components of water filtration and fertilizers, these and thousands of other vital products are produced with the assistance of coal, either for its carbon, as an upstream material, or a source of heat in the manufacturing process. Here's another video from a series we call That Comes from Coal. Most people don't have a clue about the contributions of coal, past and present. When it comes to its future, I get very excited about coal's potential for uses beyond electricity generation. Innovation is another key campaign message, and we are developing several ways to diversify coal's potential. To do this, we recently launched CONSOL Innovations, a subsidiary entity focused on new opportunities within the coal value chain. Taking advantage of its unique chemistry for use as a feedstock to innovate advanced materials, the R&D efforts here are extremely promising. We see coal becoming a high-performance material in aerospace, military, battery storage, building materials, and other high-technology applications. We think the future market here is absolutely enormous. And I'm sure those of you that were in attendance yesterday when Dan was showing some of the potential uses we think can be there, particularly for high-strength carbon materials, it's quite alarming. I mean, you never think about how coal is used, and I think we're right when we say most everybody thinks it's just for power generation. But as you can see, we're doing an enormous amount of research, having some success in building out our innovation process at CONSOL, and we're really excited about that. Not So Fast includes many ways of getting our message out. And we are certainly hearing from some people online and through social media that aren't happy about the campaign. Many of the comments, as you can imagine, aren't that very nice. But we anticipated this. We all responded, and here's a comment from one of our favorite campaign trolls. Scott sarcastically writes us on Facebook, "Yeah, we burnt the planet to a crisp, but for a short while there, we created a lot of value for our shareholders. It was awesome. Actually, get the blank out of here with this blank." Here's our response. "Not so fast, Scott. You say we burnt the planet to a crisp. This is not a rational statement and completely untethered from reality. As far as creating shareholder value, yes, any independent business enterprise must provide value to its customers and, by extension, society at large. In order to generate profits for its owners, hire more employees, compensate its suppliers, pay its taxes, invest in R&D, donate to charities, and advance humanity. Without profits, none of these things are possible. Scott, best of luck in your endeavors." We've created over 50 videos to get our message out. So now, for your viewing pleasure, take a look.
Life expectancy, educational attainment, and income all correlate with per capita electricity use. And more of the world's electricity is fueled by coal than any other source. Learn why coal is essential to life at thecoalhardtruth.com.
Coal is one of the most dispatchable forms of energy available. It can be stored and ready for use right at the power plant. Intermittent renewable forms of energy, on the other hand, are not dispatchable at all. This is why relying completely on wind or solar power isn't practical, safe, or smart.
We are sensing that a new narrative is beginning to emerge. Not so fast. This narrative is based on evidence, common sense, solutions, and real-world results. As the campaign title suggests, we are urging people to more cautiously consider the trade-offs and potential harms of aimlessly abandoning fossil fuels, like coal, and we think the data supports our claims. In fact, we see a future where renewables work together with abated fossil fuel-based power without compromising our prosperity, health, or the environment. As the world pursues decarbonization, one thing seems certain. Coal will be relied upon as part of an orderly energy transition for decades to come. Once again, please join us at thecoalhardtruth.com.